Joining me now, conservative talk show radio host Howie Carr and Democratic strategist John Rowley in beautiful Nashville. Let me get to Howie first. I thought those, at least certainly in the centrist Democrats, if you like, would be pleasantly surprised with the way Mr. Trump has gone about his transition business. But should we be surprised that Elizabeth Warren and Elijah Cummings are not happy?
Well, I don't think they've been happy since November the 8th, have they? And probably before that. I mean, nothing he does is going to satisfy them. Look, I mean, one day they're accusing him of appointing Steve Bannon, a so-called anti-Semite, which he isn't. Next day, he pushes the trial balloon that he's going to appoint his son-in-law, Jared Kushner, an Orthodox Jew, and he's accused of nepotism. So is it anti-Semitism or is it nepotism? You know, Mike Pence, his vice president, gets a dressing down by the cast of Hamilton, and you know, they're all speaking truth to power. Now, 2 years ago, when Dr. Ben Carson did the same thing to Barack Obama at the National Prayer Breakfast, that was the worst thing that ever happened. That was lèse-majesté. You know, again, there's nothing he can do. You know, I mean, one day he's moving too slow on the transition. Now they're saying he's moving chaotically. Whatever he does, he's not going to make these people happy.
John, are Democrats just a miserable bunch because they lost, or should we give at least some kudos to Mr. Trump, who has perhaps offered a more tempered view since, well, going back to his acceptance speech in the early hours of November the 9th? Wouldn't you agree?
Well, there's a lot of weeping and a lot of gnashing of teeth among Democrats. So it's, you know, we can't dispute we are a miserable lot by and large. I mean, I think one of the challenges is just as in his presidential campaign and probably in his private sector career, Donald Trump is a little all over the board. I mean, you've got the Bannon appointment, which is the most extreme imaginable sort of right-wing person. And then you've got him talking of bringing Democrats in and doing about-face on some pretty, you know, kind of standard-bearer right-wing issues like climate change and whatnot. So I think you know, everyone's just trying to get their underpinnings of what a Trump administration is going to look like.
But to follow up, John, you know, the fact that he's willing to do that, I would imagine should be a comfort to his biggest critics, because he's able to kind of maybe stand back a little bit and be, you know, more of a mediator on these issues.
His biggest critics are inconsolable right now, so I think that's the bottom line.
Here he does. You know, he tries to move. He tries to move to the center, and as you say, you know, shouldn't that be seen as a good sign? But yet I read on the internet today, here are Trump's flip-flops. Again, like I said, he can't get credit for anything. And by the way, I don't think Bannon is really that extreme. I mean, if he's so extreme, look, he worked for Goldman Sachs. He has an equity piece of Seinfeld. He was in the Navy for 12 years. I mean, are these the marks of some neo-Nazi? I don't think so.
John, you want to respond?
Oh, he's maybe one of the. There is no one more extreme that's been in a senior position like that in the White House. I mean, it's an incredibly divisive first signal. So whatever credit Trump is not getting for some of the moving to the middle, which he unquestionably has done when that's your first move, I mean, that kind of confirms everything his worst critics would have said about him throughout the campaign.
Howie, let me follow you up with this. With Mr. Trump kind of becoming more moderate on some issues and talking to people that were very critical of him in the campaign, that may assuage some Democrats who were very critical. But what about upsetting his core base? There's a lot of people already upset.
Yeah, it's been reported, and I think it's true that Trump's critics take him literally, but not seriously, and his supporters take him seriously, but not literally, and I think that's it. I mean, I don't think that this is really a deal breaker for him to say that you know, he may not want to have a special prosecutor for Hillary Clinton. You know, on my radio show, I've been off this week, but people were actually more worked up about him talking about putting Mitt Romney in the cabinet. I mean, Mitt Romney was just really down on him in a big way.
He certainly was. We'll have to leave it right there. I could talk for hours. John and Howie, as always, thank you so much. We'll see you guys again in just a little bit.